Happy days. It's time for some FACEIT League. You made it to Friday. It's the end of the week. We're in our final match of the week here in week 3. We are going to be doing Nightmare Academy, previously known as Nightmare Rotation. Yes, Dirt and the squad are back. Just under a slightly different name, new logo, fresh look, but they are here to hook and kill. You know, the hog will be in full effect. They are taking on Iliad Artemis, a longtime mainstay here in FACEIT League. In fact, I was looking at it. There's 15 seasons of FACEIT League experience between these two squads. Should be a banger. I also should have a guest coming in, as Lemon Kiwi will be joining me on the broadcast tonight. Best time of day indeed. Let's get into it. Oh, let's go and get Lemon in here. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining. This should be a banger. This should be a banger. We got Nightmare Academy has been around literally since season 1 of FACEIT League, and have always brought kind of this one trick off kilter or their own brand of things. But they've always been super potent, and they've fought their way up from expert to be a master division. Artemis has a similar story. So we've got these two teams that are kind of very grassroots, that have been casting since they were, back in the lower division, and that really haven't changed a whole lot, especially Artemis. Artemis has barely changed at all since season 2. So it should be a good match. It should be a good match. There's a match page. I would look at that. That'll have stats and stuff for you, and you'll be able to keep up with like bans in real time and all that.
The Diva ban. So if I'm getting this Diva ban.
Yes, exactly. And so the team on the left is doing the banning here. So Nightmare Academy picked Ilios, banned out Diva. But from there on, it's loser pick. You start on control, but after that, you can choose any game type.
You would say it's like the same rules as OWCS.
It should be identical.
This is so cool.
It was really nice.
So now it's people just confirming their roster?
Correct. They're determining their starting lineup right now, which I don't expect to change. What you see on the right-hand side is the starting lineup here. We might get Amado in. Amado actually been turning up lately, an awesome hit scan. It's been around for a bit, but most of Artemis are brand new names that have just been playing together since season 2. As I was talking about, these two teams have a combined 15 seasons of experience. Just a little history here for everybody. Both teams are coming in 4-0 here in season 7. Now, Nightmare Academy, they're making their return. After getting knocked down to expert for season 5, they were able to make it all the way grand finals. They qualified through, and they've been in master divisions for season 6 and 7. Artemis, again, same hard-fought thing where they earned their way up into master division, winning the championship in season 4 and moving up into season 5, and have been here since then. Now we're in their 3rd season in Master Division. Very interesting parallels and similarities between these two teams. Okay, we're getting an Ash ban.
I was gonna say the Ash ban is interesting. I thought the Tracer would have made more sense because she's pretty friendly on like all 3 points, but Ash, it's like, I guess mostly Lighthouse that she's strongest at. Oh yeah, I've been playing ranked more recently, and dude, the good Ash players are insane. It's like you get double headshot and you're just cooked instantly as a support.
So with Freya taking such a heavy damage nerf, now it's kind of, are we playing Soj? Are we playing Ash? Some teams are still pulling out the Freya.
Yeah, Freya feels more like a harasser than like the executioner, like Ash or even old Sojourn has been. Yeah, pretty much those 3, right?
Pretty much those 3. You'll see Hanzo make an appearance from time to time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I was wondering if he really died.
No. You still see Hanzo make an appearance from time to time. Hanzo and Widowmaker will both make an appearance.
It's like you gotta be a Widow guy or a Hanzo guy in order to play those. I don't feel like just any hit scan can go on those heroes, so that'll be funny. I remember how like back in the day, it was like so important to have like a Widow player on your team.
Yes.
Like for those like Junker towns or like really big sniper maps, it was so important. Or it's like, it was definitely a boon to have like a Tracer player that was flexible enough to also play other things, which was also very rare to find, or having a Widow player on your team. Ooh, thanks for the feed.
Yes.
A duck on Quack, oh my god.
Yes, that's better known as Quevster. Duckworks.
Better be that good if we're representing that name.
Quester has their moments. Quester has their moments. That is going to be Artemis on the left-hand side. I know you have a very clean feed there, but that is Artemis on the left-hand side, who are actually showing us the hazard here early. team traditionally plays a lot of Ramatra.
Yeah, kind of nice to get on these high grounds, but the wall too, there's a lot of those choke points you can get through, and should be able to blow up the Winston, but also be pretty self-sufficient. But really mobile composition on the red side, just full dive with the Kiri that can go in and come back towards the Cassidy, which we'll see how much you want to hold an off angle, and there's Kiri and Lucio and all kinds of people that can also dive on you, but to keep that Echo in check is going to be pretty important for the Cassidy.
Nightmare Academy and company are just going to rotate towards Cage. I thought they were going to pressure that high ground. They're going to give this high ground. Just let Duck sit up here. A little long range shot just harassing this. Nobody in control just yet. Cutter is threatening in the corner, trying to take care of that Echo. Gets Pain low. Pain is able to get up into the skies, get healed up, and return to the safety at the top of that lighthouse.
Yeah, just that top lighthouse position was so huge, especially for the Freya, who I guess got immediately dove on. I think Red Side was sick and tired of being poked at throughout, and just this hazard has not been able to make them uncomfortable enough or do significant amount of damage to dislodge them from that. And with the presence of the Tracer, you can linger around the point and survive a lot longer than most heroes. So it makes sense that the Tracer helped out with the cap, but I thought the blue team would have been able to win that fight just based on the poke and the position.
Really nice timing out of Lucano's engage initially. And speaking of good timing, the Kitsu used very quickly in this fight, following up in an early pick on the putter. All it takes, too.
But hey, it's all good. You get to kind of match the score, take the lead, get your own Kitsune rush. Cassidy too, which could zone anybody off. Maybe if you catch the Echo like out in the middle of nowhere, that Deadeye can catch any flyer who's out of position. So I'm liking what the red side's bringing to the table in this fight.
It's now sneaking across the outside, back to the wall, moving to the cage. Kitsu now in play, out allow. The Nerf gun. The Nerf gun sounds crack me up, but don't let it fool you. That Red X is just as dangerous, as is this Deadeye. A couple of skulls popped up. We're going to speed onto the objective. Get a lot of damage into Maverick. Putter is going to finish them off. Yeah, don't let the kill feed confuse you. That is all Nightmare Academy in that fight. They flipped this point.
Wow. Good stuff. Yeah, I was like, wait.
Yeah.
The colors, but
yeah.
I'm seeing Maverick kind of play solo a lot, and I think Industrial has been trying to kind of piece this team together, trying to escort people around and also be aggressive, but really needing to stick to this hazard and play as a team, and the Sound Bureau will do just that.
Maverick's able to get in and get Snarl and use that burst damage. And with the Sound Barrier, everybody's able to converge. The Sound Barrier just later from Unread, but you're already sans cast and missing so much damage. Maverick finds two, leaping up to the high ground to confirm that second kill. And this is going to be Nightmare Cat holding on to this point.
Especially when a hazard is killing both supports. That's pretty nice from them. And a quick reset at that, and that will get them into a tying position with Kitsune Rush and Dupe. I would think you'd probably go for Winston, but whatever is going to be the right call at the moment. Sometimes you just have to pop it for survivability, but Kitsune Rush is going to be the big boon that kicks off this fight, and the lead will be shifting very soon. And Lucana is going to be aggressive with the Primal too, so watch if he can contest things.
Let's see, where did the comment end up? Okay, we're playing on the bottom right-hand side. Yep, everybody just kind of reconvened on Cage. You have Putter far distance building up. Woo! We're gonna get aggressive. You get the Winston duplicate just as you anticipated and try to keep pressure in. Putter gets cleaned off the flank. And all guns are pointed here at Nightmare Arcade. Gets to investing from Artemis. Rejoin on the double take line. Don't want to get in too deep. Maverick actually might be behind enough more than the shoe with the Kitsu Rush thrown right on top of him. Wow, stall a golden opportunity. Lucana and company seized it. Nightmare Cat threatening to flip this point here after everything seemed to be falling apart. Maverick oversteps ever so slightly and forces, now we got a final fight forced by Nightmare.
I just thought the synergy was really great between Pain and Maverick. Just to be able to burn down that Winston, crack the armor to really amp things up, be proactive, but just not able to really close out these fights. The trades are going Nightmare's way, and now they have the chance to force, and with beat advantage too, it's going to be pretty significant. And Duck on Quack has to be careful how many times they get picked, but that's just kind of the awareness that a dive team has to go on the Freya, as they are not as mobile.
Duck got a sharp eye on that Winston. Winston noticing pain is a little out of position. Oh! Lucana gets a beautiful right click down. The bubble needs to protect against the downpour. It's now with a Deadeye in play. The blocking hazard. Maverick trying to wait it out, but a pulse bomb hits him in the back and brings them down. 99-99 fight. Unread with a sound barrier available. Duck is able to get a kill. 96%, we get a flip. Duck is still here, lingering about, but not going to be enough to bring it back solo. Pain goes down. This is going to be a round 1 win to Nightmare Academy.
Yeah, on paper, I feel like Artemis should be winning. You have the initial damage from the Freya, the Tracer that goes and finishes it off, and I think there was some synergy forming between the Echo and Maverick, being able to burn down a Winston so fast and really trapping them in the cage, as you pointed out. But Nightmare were always able to kind of break out of those situations, and Potter also being very clutch and dumping a lot into the block of the hazard. I wasn't sure how that was gonna go, but oftentimes Maverick was out on an island and eventually killed off, so which gave a lot of more open space for Nightmare to get around once that tank was out. So now we go to Lighthouse, where those hit scans are going to be even more important. So, but Duck on Quack is going to be, I think, more accessible as well with how much smaller and closer these high grounds are.
Capture the objective.
Oh, I forgot to give Prince. I'm so sorry. I'm like, you know,
I'm throwing him off.
Yeah, mod, prod, caster, observer. You know, things slip through the cracks. You know, the Bullskunk bingos that's known around here, man, that card gets filled up pretty quick sometimes. I'm happy I'm not muted, Lemon. All right, I'm not muted. We're good. You know?
No mute bug.
I'll get y'all Prince from that too. I'm sorry, Prince. I'm sorry, Prince. Oh, let's lock it. Let's lock it. First time we got high ground control out of Duck and the rest of Artemis. Here comes the lead from Lucana. And moving over, Snowl sneaks in at the end of that fight, lands a couple of take aim pulls, finds Pain. Duck gets the high ground though, wins the duel. We're equal 4v4 in this opening fight for control of Lighthouse. Oh, a little high ground exchange. Duck stuck around longer than they probably should have. Here comes the rest of the reinforcements. Lucana gets a nice Susan, just leaps up to high ground. The chase is on to try to find Maverick, and Artemis will do so. Excuse me, Nightmare will do so.
Yeah, interesting initial position from Artemis to be on the top of the lighthouse. Great use of the hazard walls to kind of block off and split up some of the dives. I'd like the Tracer choice better, though, because there's going to be different parts of the map where the fights are going to be taking place and very low cover area right in the middle of that no man's land. So the Tracer's great at maneuvering through that, capping the point, and allowing the fight. And kind of, you don't have to worry about the point. You just focus on the fight. And, well, you see how the red team is still currently holding the point because of that presence of the Tracer, but it's about winning the war sometimes, and somehow Artemis still haven't flipped the point.
Yep, I mean, Payne using the one advantage the Echo has, that burst damage to find the opener. Oh, Marduk, slow your gear. He was at 1 health. Fortunately, he's going to get out of there safe. Sound barriers in, but Lucana's able to find an important pick onto your tank. This is a 4v3 that Lucana is trying to wrestle back into Nightmare Academy's favor. Kitsu thrown in from both of our squads. Lucana's got the heal bubbles to stay alive. Locates a lone Kiriko on the outside, and Nightmare Academy hang on to this point, clawing back a 3v5.
And this could just be 100-0 right here. Lucana, fantastic job knocking out the tank like that. And 2 support ultimates invested for a lost fight is gonna hurt this Artemis team so much. And it was because of the Winston bubble really breaking up that fight. DPS from the blue side not able to dump enough damage in the midst of all that chaos and really take advantage of the support ults. And this is the last fight.
Maverick downpour looks like it got blocked by the bubble again. He's not really found the value out of that ultimate. Big dive, though, will pick up Snow early. That canceled the bolo shot from what it looked like. 5v4, couple of DPS ults available, but Webster low. Hunt down by Lau, one of the most deadly flex supports we've got here at Master. Now, Unred's going to layer in a sound barrier and try to win out this 99 fight. It's just Maverick on the point. We got a duplicate in play from Pay. You got 2 tanks, trying to as much sustain as humanly possible. How will they hang on? They're dancing around. You're going to throw everything you can, but you're not escaping the wrath. Even a duplicate primal rage on the point will not be enough. Nightmare Academy close out round 2.
I think macro-wise, Artemis did a good job staying on the high ground, making sure their DPS weren't as easily accessible to a Tracer, but Potter was still the GOAT in my opinion, both at capping the point, reintegrating himself into the fight, and coordinating with the dive, and Lucana being able to knock out the hazard, for example, when both support ultimates were out was really pivotal because once that hazard is gone, everyone is sitting ducks. And speaking of duck, like Quack, I think had the right positions, but I didn't see him on the kill feed enough. And maybe that's just needing someone to really finish off those kills, which we kind of talked about in Freya's damage being really nerfed. So it'd be nice to have a Tracer, for example, to go and chase down those kills, or maybe some better synergy with the focusing beam of the Echo, which they were playing a lot of. Good choices of the dupes, but it seemed like a coordination thing. I like the macro of Artemis, but somehow just not converting the damage they needed to take advantage of those positions.
We did not really see big value from the bolo shots. We didn't see really any big value from the downpour as well, kind of to layer more on top of that. I think Artemis really struggled to get value in the ult fights across the board. Big plays from Academy on that. We're getting a King's Row pick out of Artemis as we go into map 2. We'll see what they want to ban out.
So Zia and Owl is...
Yes, is DPS. I just Snow, like it's an S. The original.
Okay.
Yeah. If you
I
to
see damage. Yeah, cool. Yeah, they had the most damage. That's insane. Maverick also on the hazard did so much. I think just needing to be supported a lot more, or just called back in moments where they were, running down an alley by themselves. And I think Maverick had the right ideas of trapping people and being front and center, but may want to be careful just chasing down some of those kills. But obviously it was outputting the most amount of damage. So I think it's everyone follow Maverick and not the other way around. Mei Wu Yang ban. So I'm a little bit newer to Wu. I'm still learning the guy, but I was wondering how meta this was going to be. The Mei makes a lot of sense because if one team has a Mei, the other one doesn't, it is such a big tilting of the scales towards the tank that does have the Mei. It makes a huge difference. I think the Wu Yang's kind of an interesting pick because, yeah, you can probably spot check through Hotel with some of his primaries and get around corners, which King's Row has a lot of these nooks and crannies to throw some primaries into, but I didn't know Wu Yang was threatening enough to be worthy of a ban, I guess.
Wu Yang puts out a ton of damage. And we've seen, kind of for some specific players. I think the way they were talking, I'm not even sure who banned what, I'm going to be honest with you. We did get a side swap as well. I believe that Nightmare Academy had to ban out the Mei in this situation, though. It is a rough guess. Let's see, let's get into this. Still adjusting some things on my side. Also, you also friends.
Yeah, just kicking things off. I like the Symmetra. Try to get your whole Brawl team to the high ground. Lucio seems to be a mainstay with both these teams. The Sojourn is the pick to watch, but I think just having the extra mobility can sometimes be helpful. Now, you just have to be careful when you want to choose to bring out that Suzu if you're this Lao person, but as soon as you see that armor get cracked from a tank, that's when you got to start worrying if that's your friend, and that's when you got to pedal to the metal if you're the opponent. So first pick there, the tanks are still standing, and you got a free pick out of it without any real kills happening.
Yeah, I mean, Amado goes in super deep. I think he was trying to pursue like you say, Lucana was missing that armor. And Amado smelt blood in the water, but overextended into being first to go down.
Lucana has almost no space at all. You need Putter to get active, and as the MVP of last match, I think you send him to do just that. Now Snell is probably getting pressured themselves, and I like all the angles this defense is taking. They seem to be reestablished, but that was at the cost of yet another pick. So basically just enough to zone off the defense, and you pretty much have the point secured.
Yeah, no room for error anymore. No room to give up any space anymore. Lucana's going to go toe-to-toe with Maverick. Maverick, one seemingly low on health at the moment. Giving up a lot of high ground here with Nightmare Academy. Honestly, I'm not used to seeing Nightmare Academy play this meta. I'm really not.
It's just, I'm not a big Lucio fan for the defense. They seem to be playing a more stationary style, but the beat is just one of the best ultimates in the game for negating, any ultimate coming from the other side. But you are missing out on some heals, which means missing out on space, which Lucana and the defense were suffering from, hence why they're giving up already 83% without even a definitive fight win until now.
Yeah, just match beat for beat, really, what it brings for you. Okay, Amado is going to position out of this corner with an OC. Looking for targets. Going to drop back, chase out. That is Snell caught in the bookstore. Hunt it down. Good little 2v1. Good isolation. Amado returns a beautiful headshot to 5. Lau and Lucana. Artemis cracked this thing open.
Yeah, eventually overwhelming the defense, because I feel like the attack can get more value out of the speed, going to the high ground, booping people down. The defense is... You're kind of using that, Lucio, if you're on defense, to enable rotations for your flex DPS to kind of get to different high grounds, to different positions, but you're not really needing that as much on a defense, so usually people would opt for other flex supports or even a Zen, if I do dare to say that. So, but hey, 83% off of barely fight wins. I would say this is a pretty good pace, and you got to build up pretty much every ultimate in the game to try and get through the choke point, which the defense isn't really trying to contest because they are just taking so much damage. They can't hold any space.
Oh, tried. Oh, but just got ambushed by the teleport maneuver. Ends up being a 4-for-4 trade. Amado in deep. Floofy gets a sound barrier now that only hits two, you know? Sounds romantic, but it turns into a bit of a mess here in the streets of Kings Row. Maverick and Amado find kills, though, and Artemis make the best of it.
Only needing B for that is huge economy. Now you can use the last 4 ults to kind of cap B, and using them, keeping the most amount of your ults for the end of the cap, so important. Even just using the Symmetra wall just to horizontally force the defense forward could be enough to win it. I mean, then you pop Annihilation, and then they're going to be forced to either full disengage and give up the cap, or to fight into a Ramantra. So, tough position for the defense to be in.
Here comes the photon barrier, the Kitsune Rush. A lot of heavy investments. It's Amado keeping an eye on. Sitting here with a shooting gallery into all of these colors. The duplicate, yeah, you just slide back away. And you thought anybody there threatens Amado in the back line. Just one little slide out, you're good, you're safe range, pumping out all the damage in the world. 2 points on the board, 3.5 in the clock.
Yeah, the Symmetra barrier there was a little selfish in my opinion, but I did like that it created a threatening area towards the back alley, and the fight's not even done. Amadu's hungry. Holy.
We're just going to jump right into the next fight, claiming the opponent's high ground and a pair of kills on your supports.
That's all you need, and chasing down those kills is the difference between a great player and a pro. Knowing when, what limits to push and to even stay around the spawn. You got one sitting on the cart. You're going to try and deny as much space as possible. Kitsune Rush, as soon as you hear that, I think you disengage if you're the attack, and then that would be an even bigger silver lining.
Watch the Maverick overstep, get out of range of that disengage. Tight on this corner. There it is. We're going to just drop Nemesis forward, put up the block. Maverick doesn't even really look all that bothered. He's not even, you know, just meandering backwards at a casual pace. The Kitsune will fail. No kills. Great. Just keep an eye on Pain. Look at this teleporter in here. Okay. Now all guns pointed at the front line. There's a teleporter threatening on that back left-hand side. Amado and company just walking this card in. They are just slowly but surely corralling the defense into the corner. Putter trying to claim some high ground, but has to respect the sightlines of Amado. Snow missing with their shots down range. Defense has a sound barrier, will now get in play, but Loud does not get the benefits. Pain doesn't either. There's the lack of support, sustain. The difference maker, Lucana's feeling it. There's not enough healing to go around. Flumpy will push this over the line with a Kitsune Rush to escort it there. Just under 2 minutes in the time bank here for Nightmare Academy.
That's a huge time bank for this map, and it really didn't feel like they struggled. If anything, they were just delayed. And I knew when they had Annihilation beat that this was going to be a pretty solid fight, and you could really tell which team is struggling based on whose support ultimate's going to come out first, which it was the defense, which was a fantastic choice. When you lose Lao, your main source of heals on the Kiri, you need that beat, you need to delay as much, but I just never felt like the defense got established. They were always fighting an uphill battle at the huge ult economy that the attack had built up from the more extended point fight, which never really stopped or full reset, so they built up almost 5 ultimates after capping the point, which snowballed into them only needing a single beat to get halfway to B, to then popping what? I think it was Symmetra Barrier, maybe Annihilation, and maybe a third one for the cap of point B, and they knew exactly, Nightmare knew exactly when to disengage. You heard that Kitsune Rush, which did absolutely nothing for the defense, and not really much you can do when Putter and Snow are just so far back, and the disengage was called perfectly by Nightmare. So they have a very good understanding of the map.
Well, and you know, when you did have 3 ultimates available for the defense, Nightmare Academy always had more. And that disengage on point C really just kind of embodied it all. It felt a little desperate at that point for the defense. They knew that they that was slipping away from them. And, you know, they didn't wait for Maverick to overstep. Maverick was just safely on the corner. And, yeah, it was much, much higher value from Nightmare Academy. Once again, we saw Artemis struggle to get anything done in the ult fights.
The rotation through Hotel to try and see if we can access some of these supports. But what's nice about the Curie is she can just climb up to the high ground, go into the window, and not be too bothered. But man, we're just building a full-on flank for this attack, like LA Gladiator style, where you're just going all the way around through Narnia, through the back closet, and this could confuse the defense, and this is how you can take advantage.
Well, yes, the Lucana is now a tour guide here for Kings Row. On your left, you will have a Ramacho without Nemesis form. Back it away, but Maverick will eventually just pop the later cooldown and pummel Lucana as they try to drop to the low ground. Sorry, I know that was a confusing little bit of obs there for a moment, but you know what? Defense wins it out. They take control of this high ground and end the tour.
What was different about both attacks so far is that there was always presence on the point for the attack. They got a free take with just 1 kill. Then they got the second take off of maybe 1 or 2 more kills. And the respawn advantage is always stronger for the attack at this point of the map. So I'd like to see Artemis get more point presence and just to kind of steal away some of the objective while you're confusing them with the rotation.
Lucana themselves are just going to play kind of old school around Hotel. Oh, that's a lot of damage and a level 3 charge out of that Symmetra coming at you. Amado is going to see if they can break the back with the overclock. Up to the high ground with a teleporter. They're not able to lock down anybody. Unred is just dancing and dodging around all the shots. That was incredible. Maverick does eventually come up with a kill, though, and the attackers are left with a difficult choice. You have no tank. You're stuck in this house. And here comes Amado and company to evict you.
This is not looking good. Half the time bank gone, but we do have some cope here. 4 ults are about to come up, and that's how you're going to just hope. I would like to see them just simplify things. Play from front to back. Maybe have your Sojourn have some Hotel presence, but they're trying to do a lot with this Lucio, and I think just running down the defense would be enough to start the objective. But hey, now it's a brawl. Lucana's in trouble.
Well, and the defense is not what you expect it to be. They're over here left-hand side by stairs. Marnix does play some nice Kitsu to control this low ground. We're going to layer in a second support ultimate to try to take it away here from the defensive Nightmare. The attackers are kind of just stuck now. They do respond with their own ultimates. And with 75 seconds left, finally win an awkward close quarters fight. The defense picks up 1. Teleport rotation. This fight's not done. Even though Marnix and Pinkar are low, they've been able to kind of keep the defense in this fight.
Yeah, the attackers have closer respawns, so the trades will favor them, and just finally someone got on the point, and guess what? You got instantly a tick for free. Imagine that. Getting on the point, you start capping. And what a weird place for 12, or for, I guess, 10 ults to drop.
Seriously?
Kind of a crazy fight, but hey, you eventually got the cap done, and it is at a time disadvantage, but this could be how you start snowballing things. Kings Row is very much about that. You don't want to get stuck at this choke point, which is not going to be fun against the Sim, but okay, Amado's going to take fate into his own hands.
They were a little through Lucana's armor and form, but guess what? They've got an ultimate to respond with. We're trying to run down Maverick. Oop. Can't go past the choke. Too much. Got to pull back. Respect the teleporter. You got to play your advantage here if you're Nightmare. Nope, it is Iliad Artemis. Oh, shoot. I forgot to swap. I see what happens here. I forgot to swap your names in game. I'm so sorry. Aha. That's what I get. That's what I get. That's what I get.
Your stream overlay, so that's my bad if I said it wrong too.
Yeah, no, Maverick is Artemis. Artemis are defending right now in red. Lucana is feeling the brunt of all of their players at the moment. And I will get those teams swapped. Like, I'm trying to juggle too many things tonight, apparently.
So Putter's on the Venture, probably to try and dive at this Sim, who's going to be the most vulnerable to this, but everyone else should be able to get away. Sojourn just jumps away. Lucio moves. Kiri teleports. But okay, is it ending now,
Annihilation. Nope, never mind. Maverick's Annihilation just evaporated. You got bonus armor from that ult? Nobody told Maverick. Nice jump shot. Close up this fight. And there you go. We're continuing the roll. You're talking about that snowball. Nightmare Academy are building it.
You got the Kitsune Rush, even the Venture ult. This is looking good. Flumpy now has a very important role, and it's the drop beat, and if there's a touch, I would probably get 3 on here, just judging by the spacing, but they're just gonna take an early fight and B, and no, there won't be a recontest for B, so that's huge for the attack. Someone did get a last-second touch. I think that's the Sim TP.
Yeah, Maverick was able to get up there with the paint car TP. 1 kill comes through on the way there, and the defense have really been able to stabilize. Scatter Nightmare Academy to the winds, hunt down Snell from the outside. Lucana just runs up desperately looking for a trade, but there's none to be found. With 60 seconds to go, this defense will stabilize.
Nah, there's no way they lose this fight. Kitsune rush and being proactive, and all they had to do was be and teleport on the car, and that was enough to just completely derail Artemis. I guess there was 2 choices: take a proactive fight and just think that the spacing's enough and get ahead of the Sim TP, or just get 3 on and kind of try to outrace Nightmare. But unfortunately now 30 seconds left. There is so much road left for them to take. I don't know if they're going to win this.
Pain's already juiced up. There's a high damage being pointed right at your tank, and a photon barrier now to block the annihilation. Those tendrils can't get through. That will end the annihilation in its 4 seconds. Amado finds an opener onto Snell once again. This hit scan's been lights out. Gets behind the defense, draws some attention. Low health bars all the way across the board. 6 seconds to go.
Oh boy, and someone has to touch. Okay, there's a ram all the way back there, so Lucana will just C9 this part, I guess. C9.
Oh, wow.
.9.
The Kitsu gets there just in the nick of time. Annihilation up from Lucana in a what it looks to be a 3v4. Both annihilations are going. Oh, Maverick is the one left standing at it all. And Artemis tie the series.
Oh, there we go. Nightmare, yeah. On the attack. Okay, got it. Got the nightmares, the nightmares, the team names sorted, but
I'm sorry.
That is, no, you're good. That's such an insane ball to drop, because I thought Nightmare had such a good snowball forming, I guess, speaking of those, and that critical decision of how they were approaching that final fight for B is what tilted the scales in the other favor. Flumphy, that Lucio, there, Flumphy, yeah, with a huge beat, and the call from Pain to get a TP on the car for that last second touch. Maverick being such an everlasting presence from the hazard to the ram, very survivable, and I mean, a lot of time from Nightmare was also wasted doing these roundabout rotations, the tour of King's Row, when I think with a brawl comp you can kind of sometimes just play it front to back and keep it simple. Artemis just had solid calling for just like understanding the win conditions of both their own and also the enemy teams, knowing when to disengage. To lock in a 2-minute time on King's Row says a lot about their expertise of how to push those limits and really how to keep the snowball and to stay consistent. And the critical decision, popping Flumphy's barrier to get them going back again on defense, to even be able to recontest, because I was like 95% sure that was not going to be contestable, but then the Sim TP helps out a lot, get everybody back on track.
I mean, hats off to Maverick. I talked about, just kind of specializes in that. Ramatra has been an outstanding Ramatra player for as long as I've been casting this team back in season 2. 15-3 in that map, but is able to teleport up and stand up there alone. Like, we saw just the outline of Ramatra off in the distance and this lone Bastion holding down the cart.
Yeah, Snell had a really good performance on Sojourn. I was wondering how that was going to go, but she's so good on King's Row because being able to jump up to those high grounds fairly easily just takes some time to charge up, but when you can easily do that on a blocking Ramatra, which I'm surprised he didn't get nerfed more in the patch. Now we can see the return of that Winston.
Wouldn't surprise me to see it here. It was an auto ban actually out of Artemis to try to limit the Winston comp specifically.
But yeah, it's now about what DPS do you want to pair that with. This is such an awkward point because it's so close range. It's hard for the hit scans to get established unless they want to somehow get to the high ground, which you could do so with a Symmetra TP or just someone who could jump up there like an Asher or Sojourn. And you have your Kiri that can jump in. The Brig here is interesting, but it's easy to pack someone like a Tracer or anyone at range while you sit there and push the card.
I can't believe that that Juno didn't get popped by that. Wait, it wasn't a Juno. It was the Brig I saw back there. Whatever that silhouette, God, maybe it was Lao. I don't know. That looked like a headshot waiting to happen. We do get Quebster on the Hunter. We talked about this earlier with the Nerf bow. It just sounds hilarious, by the way.
Now looking for those lucky headshots. I like that Maverick is cycling between contesting the cart and not. Just needing to be careful when that armor gets cracked. Your HP just evaporates. And knowing when to give up the high ground and when to start controlling market, which the defense seems to have a good understanding of.
Maverick is low. His defense matrix and the boosters hit goes back towards the fountain. Able to stabilize here. Okay, forced to use that Suzu from the attackers. So you're going to get Nightmare Academy kind of slowing their roll a little bit. The pressure from the defense onto a low Lucana. Everybody kind of bunching up around their Winston to try to protect. And things are starting to get a little more claustrophobic in here. Oh, Putter opens it up. Buys an important pick on the left-hand side of this flank. Now has lanes to move in. Start pressuring supports. A low Flumpy. A broken shield. And Snow will hit you from range. A +2 now for your attacking Nightmare Academy as they start to roll into the back of point A.
Payne almost took out that Brig, but Putter reacted so well and got the kill onto the Tracer, which lets him free roam into the back line. Kitsune Rush invested, which resulted in not a recontest. So that's a pretty big pain point. Sometimes you miscalculate, sometimes it happens, and now the snowball starts to form. Lucano's already 20 away from Primal, so he can kind of keep himself cozy up here. There's someone that can really bully him off, except probably the Diva, but we'll see how it goes.
Kitsune Rush in response. Oh, I mean, nice. The defense had one. Ducks just get ran over.
Payne at least accomplished something, and that was finally killing that Brig he's been so desperately trying to do since the start of the map.
And a fairly important trade, taking the rally out, but this Primal Rage from Lucana. Beautiful juggle to find Martix, take them all the way across the courtyard. Both teams kind of fall back to their respective corners, though, when it's all said and done.
No stops on this Nightmare train. Now if Putter can get a nice pulse behind the Brig shield if possible, which he's been pretty good at breaking down that shield, and well, they'll need to when Fufi's just dead. Recall out of the pulse bomb. Pretty good stuff, but Putter needs some help, and now this should stall things out.
Payne drop back into the vault. Dragon's moment to breathe for everybody. Look at Rally, we're looking at Ash's Bob now getting thrown in immediately. That went all the way towards the back of the spot. Payne gets caught by a simple shield bash. That's just going to be the cap.
Yeah, that Ashe spot is gross because as a Diva player, your boosters can only bring you so far. Winston's gonna be able to dive further away and kind of keep the space with the bubble. Diva has some struggles, but has a lot more damage output, at least in burst amounts. So I like where Snell was positioned to be out of axis from the Diva, unless you were to really step forward, which then you're in the middle of a lot of poke. So once the offense gets going and gets positioned, it is really hard to challenge them. So this is going to be a much friendlier point of the map though for Diva, so I need to see Maverick get active.
Maverick playing close onto the cart right now. We're getting a 4-player rotation back to the back side. Punter coming in, playing off the flank for a Maverick moment, just circles through. Nightmare Academy, I think, would love to get control of this high ground, but they recognize that Maverick's is a little separated. Payne gets caught. Maverick sneaks in. An aggressive play in to find Snell. Trades out. Defense gonna move now to play this corner as the cart has slipped up under the bridge. We're in a 4v4 as Maverick takes to the high ground.
Yeah, Maverick is kind of waiting for the team to assemble, but you're also giving up a lot of car push. So Flimpy and Maverick need to trade that out, and Kitsune Rush traded. This is hectic.
Oh, that's a very low one. Red, take it out of Rally. The Suzu unit try to protect your back line. Maverick just runs into death, is trading one. That's not going to be nearly enough to have an impact.
Still 3 minutes. This is super holdable. You love the close range for something like a Diva, and then Maverick can go on the high ground and basically try to chase down Snowl, because Coach Gun can only get you so far away from a Diva that can just keep on running you down, and then just making sure you peel for Putter if he were to find his way in the back line, which a lot tougher for a Tracer to do. You have to go through the right side, which the defense will be spotting where those Tracers are going to be rotating to. So 3 minutes though, a lot of ult cycles that can go for this offense to cap.
Nightmare Academy are going to just stack their tank into this hallway to try to open things up for Putter. Ask Court the Tracer in. Pulse up top. Ooh, look promising, but does not connect. Oh, my ears just did a weird poppy thing. Oh, that sucks. Rally available. Self-destruct available as well here.
Yeah, Maverick's been able to maintain the armor. Probably got the shield gen perk too. So the more you matrix, the more health you get. So that just makes it so hard to kill a diva, so survivable, especially if you know how to kind of juggle your matrix. But the annihilation, you got to be able to burn that.
Bob threw it in from the defense, trying to separate the back line from Lucana as they push forward with the annihilation. See, Bob just placed right over the objective. Maverick and Mardix are able to clean up there where the confined Nightmare Academy couldn't move. Beautiful position to drop in over the top and just destroy this attack.
Yeah, this Ashe is dominating. Duck, amazing Bob, because that you trade that with the annihilation, which is an ultimate that can just run your team down and zone you off and force a lot out of you. So Bob for annihilation, you absolutely take those, especially when you have a respawn advantage. The ball is in the defensive court and you burn half the timing. I think the offense had roughly 3-ish minutes and half of that is gone. So Kitsune Rush, Rally, that's going to be what they have going for them.
Putter got caught out. That is all 3 blinks and their recall used. Pankar single-handedly marking lower side. Lucana and the rest of the company moving up top for Nightmare Academy. Try to take this high ground away. Gets now and just recently swapped Cass onto this precious high ground position. But Lau's got a good opener. 5v4 for Nightmare Academy as they throw the Kitsune Rush down to the low ground. Lucana drops. Putter now looping around all the way towards the spawn to try to get a pulse in. Meanwhile, a Rally on the point here to help push the cart over the line. And that's going to be more than enough. They'll get it done. Pankar still eating more of that precious time, though.
Hey, any second is worth it, but man, the Rally is such a raid boss. I thought old Overwatch 1 Brig was obnoxious. Hey, you got a last second touch? I should take off another 10 seconds, surely.
That's the Manga is so hard to kill. Everybody's going to get back here. We've got another fight coming in. Floofy has a sound barrier coming up online if they're able to stay alive. Lucana's going to go ahead and pop the annihilation, run everybody away. You get Duck. Floofy hiding on the corner. Lau will chase him down. And Ajax the beat. So they get all 3 points on the board, but it was that kind of close.
Yeah, if that beat would have gone off, it could have been possible because the respawns are a lot closer. Snao just got picked, but that's some hard cope. You had annihilation, you had rally, you had all the space in the world, and hey, the silver lining is to be able to recontest and shave off 20 seconds just with a Mauga pick. So pretty huge for the defense. 0 seconds, but a full cap is still pretty difficult to accomplish on this map. And just the Diva pick, I think, was intended to chase off the Tracer, to bully the Winston, which was difficult to do throughout point A and point B, especially when you had the Ashe so far away. They just counter-positioned away from the Diva, which was quite smart, especially Snao. So I like just how far they were able to get with these picks. I'm missing the old chat. Are we... Is this analysis that I'm seeing from Lucana?
I mean, I think it's more talking about skins.
Oh, okay, of course. The important conversation.
Hey, you know what? If it's par for the course around here, all right? My degree is in art. You know, I take a moment to appreciate the fit, all right?
True.
So now we'll stick with the Ashe coming in for this defense. And, you know, it's a lot easier to get value defensively. You don't have to fight to get in position. You know, we saw Snell kind of struggled to get in position sometimes, but definitely making it work once they did. Much easier here. Quack, jump shot right out of the gate. Try to find him. No luck.
Yeah, the Coach Gun plus the Brig Whip Shot. This is a good kind of anti-dive setup that you have. And then this Winston's going to try and basically contest, maybe get bullied out. The armor's already been cracked, and it's going to fall back for heals, maybe think about a market reposition. Now the Tracers are going to duel off, and Potter's trying to play with the team, with the Winston, and see if they can collapse on the other side of this bridge.
Yeah, it has to juggle that with stopping the cart as well. There you go. It does in fact conversion, but it's on their own side of the bridge when they find a Floofy. Just isolated, kind of stuck between 2 pieces of cover. Ends up being a well-timed ambush there from the defending Nightmare Academy.
Yeah, Putter is proving to me more and more that they're one of the best players in this lobby, just for multi-kills, reliability, consistency, and everything. We'll see if Artemis want to focus on just diving the high ground, pushing the card. It's kind of tough to do in that choke point. But the D.Va just needs to really focus on that Winston. Pop the bubble, pop their armor, force them to keep disengaging, and just kind of take this one step at a time. But the D.Va has to do so much at once, being the most malleable and mobile tank in the game.
It does a good job of converging on a call out there for a low target putter. Has been high impact, was leading an ult charge. And that's enough to get you around the fountain. This is time for a re-engage from this defense.
Yeah, and they're going to do it off the Kitsune Rush, which they can happily wait one more second for it before touching very soon. Somebody has to do that. Lucana's on it, and he has to live long enough for the primal.
Pain's trying to sneak in from this hallway side. You're just going to let the Kitsune fade away. Going to take it up some time. Putter throws in a pulse from that as well. So 2 ults invested from the defense. Marduk's builds up the last few pressure percent they need. Here comes the Zoo. There gets the Kitsu. The health already low for the attacking squad. Dragon's invested from Duck, but you've already lost your Kiriko into this fight. It's going to be just the break heals. The rally is late to get Maverick back in mech. They do pop the self-destruct. Flimpy's able to chase down. Wow. So all is not lost here for Iliad and Artemis as they look to push this thing home. So now he's going to hold the line with a bomb momentarily. The defense stabilizes. Question mark. Yeah, Maverick was still behind him.
Part of that. Oh my god, wait. What's he doing?
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because Maverick was still behind him. Sneaks in and is able to get a kill on the Snowl. It was just an awkward moment as it develops here at the end of like a second half of this fight. I don't think that engagement ever finished, Limit. It just kind of stalled for a moment.
Everyone played hide and seek.
Yeah, straight up.
Understandable when you had Mardox die and Flimpy had to make a decision. Do we disengage? Do we rally and hope for the best? And it was a good call on the rally, and it made it so that they didn't have the full reset. But it did take a little bit more time to get that point A going. So Duck on Quack on this Hanzo really has to get some picks going, because this Tracer duel has been more in favor of Nightmare, I would say, or at least even. So it's going to come down to these hit scans to make a difference.
Duck has now got great positioning up here. Sight lines on everybody. Sonic arrows thrown down below on the corner. Unread, 81% towards that rally. You know you're expecting it. Sneaking over the top. Sonic revealing Snell, and they don't even know it! The headshot is gorgeous! Oh, and the turnaround on the WoW is just nasty! Filthy stuff out of Quenster here. Pulling out the Hanzo. Yeah, you're watching a respawn timer now, but job's done. You even get Unread's rally out, canceled immediately. Beautiful. Everything going right for Artemis.
Yeah, this Hanzo has to be the primary dive target of this Winston, of Lucana. Like, yes, he could get away, jump down, climb back up, really make your life a living hell, but it's gonna be your best option because if D.Va's gonna micro-missile you to death, everyone else is gonna have some kind of mobility to get away. Hanzo's your best choice, and Duck is the biggest threat.
It goes to Scout Snowl and just hits him between the eyes with the scouting arrow. We're gonna chase you with the dragons, the aura out of this gamer, and you start to see why known as Quevster.
Trap, and Lucana's gonna be forced to primal, so they gotta make something out of this fight.
They're trying to get some value out of this ultimate. I mean, actually, nice juggle. You push a Duck into a kill. We're gonna get a Kitsune as well as the rally invested in this. Pulse thrown on top of Lucana. They're 1 health. They're jumping out, trying to escape. Pain was able to hunt that down. Sorry, I was late getting to the pop. Maverick self-destruct inside the vault. We look to stabilize here. Lau was able to pick up one with the Kitsune Rush. Might help this defense to stabilize. Both of these Kirikos showing up at the fight. Job's not done for either team here. 3v3 with Maverick still in D.
It's about just capping right now and just kind of simplifying things and hold the choke. Don't let the Winston have room to jump through. And Maverick's more focused on just counter-diving the backline, which he's not finding good targets for. So the defense very much re-established, but depending on if the attack can get some good angles, they could be trying to surround and conquer, but only less than a minute.
You see the value they're putting on the Quenster as opposed to just throwing it right out the choke, the Kitsune that is. They jump up to the high ground to isolate the Hanzo and then throw it from there onto the objective. Still, despite this clever play, The attacking Artemis have managed to trade. They are now lost their Diva mech, though. It is a 4v2 on this point, I believe. Defense should stabilize. They need to reset.
Oh boy, yeah, in 25 seconds. I don't even know how you're gonna pull this off. And you don't have the best ults. And someone has to touch, and Floomfy's doing stuff, so we'll see if Maverick can get there in time. And there's an emergency Bastion on the prowl.
Yeah, well, welcome to FACEIT, Lakeland.
Emergency Bastion.
And Quester gets a pick! On to Putter, no less. All right, 5v4. Maverick is low. Let's not get too excited. Bob, rally, throw it on the play. Maverick's going to get ambushed around the corner, trying to fly out, but the Jets will not get you out of there. No tank, no one left to touch. Pain is gone. That's the end of the road. Nightmare Academy take a 2-1 lead in the series.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of potential for Artemis based on this Hanzo, this Duck guy, just getting really good picks, but he's had some highs, he's had some lows, and kind of just reminiscent of Ilios. I like his positions, I like the damage he puts out, but then it's missing so often in the kill feed, that kind of finishing blow that would really propel them forward. And then Pain has their plate full with Putter being in a space and checking him at all times. So it was a lot of pressure on Duck to get the picks, because Maverick was just trying to be a stabilizing piece, like trying to go after supports, force cooldowns, but not necessarily get too many picks on their end. So it was I think a lot of a DPS diff in favor of Nightmare. Just I like what Snao was doing on the Ashe, being on the top of the window, away from the Diva, not getting any pressure on their end to Putter. I think creating a gap on the Tracer duel. So I'm liking what Nightmare are doing.
Nightmare is always a threat too, and this is, I swear, the most meta we've ever seen him look. I'm astonished we're seeing him play this meta. So Putter and Unread are the only two additions I believe that we're seeing on the battlefield today. But wow, what an improvement here. And I mean, Nightmare Academy both these teams are 4-0 coming into this.
I feel like I've casted Putter before. Now I have to like dig through Liquid.
Yeah, no, Putter's old school.
I remember him being that Tracer guy too, so that's cool. People like him are still around.
Yeah, you love to see it. It's a very interesting spot right now with the new guard kind of coming up and seeing a lot of players like just now turn 17 and get eligible for Master Division, stuff like that. Playing against players that have been around since the Overwatch League days. Yeah, we get this wonderful blend now, and we're kind of right there in the middle. We still have a lot of the vets, but we do see the young blood, the tomorrow Overwatch stars are starting to rise here at FACEIT League. Truly. It's a Lucio ban there out of Iliad Artemis. I mean, excuse me, out of Nightmare Academy. Iliad Artemis got first ban and banned the Tracer. Banning out Putter's best hero there. That's how threatening Putter has been.
Oh, especially on Runasapi. That is such a good call. This is also my favorite target ban as the Tracer, because this is just such a windy road with 1,000 flank doors to get through. Yeah. As soon as you round the corner, the other team is like ready to accept you. And I was wondering if Putter would just kind of treat Venture as like the budget Tracer of just being able to go underground. But sometimes when teams are going to be playing quite far away, then Venture may not be able to access them as easily.
Yeah, Venture's really found their own spot in the meta. I wouldn't say even so much as like it's more front to back and disruptor than flanker. There is some flank. It's like a hybrid of somewhere in between like what Wrecking Ball does and what Tracer does. Like your hybrid flanker and hybrid disruptor. It's an interesting spot. I love it. It's not missing the stall factor is very well with the burrow. That is absolutely on point.
Not crazy you can stall with that, but you even got a Symmetra. This may get tricky, but I do believe Pain has a good understanding of this hero just based on what I saw from King's Row and kind of allowing his team to actually win the map based on that recontest. So, hey, first blood goes their way too.
Yeah, and you can see where the teleporter's placed, and just think about where all the blue jerseys were, where the teleporter is now, like just sandwiched Nightmare Academy. Very crisp first fight, flawless there out of Iliad Artemis.
Yeah, gonna be really tough to hold the space, and Unread just got kind of ran over too by the Ramatra. You want to keep your distance, make sure your Genji's packed up, but you need to kind of have some setup with this Genji too, but this is some good initial progress. Now you need Snell to come alive on this high ground, get some picks going, but Lucana may be LOSing away from his team here. This is tricky.
Yeah, this Warrior trying to go downstairs to regroup. Still looks kind of awkward. Putter has to come back off of their flank angle to try to save their tank. Some good damage done from the side, and actually they've managed to successfully keep Lucana alive miraculously. Now suddenly Maverick finds himself surrounded. There was time for Nightmare Academy to get in position and converge in on the Artemis tank. They're going to find them and the Symmetra denying any kind of teleport shenanigans. No escape in this one. And that one looked really messy, but Nightmare Academy seemed to be in control the whole time. They lost nobody.
Yeah, and I don't know where Maverick and Pain were trying to disengage to, but that's a very painful death to take, which now allows this blue side to kind of get the ball rolling and to have a nice long road where that orbital ray can drop from Lao, which could amplify the Genji, but Amado on the flank?
Amado with an OC out of the top. Oh, Putter got destroyed! You heard the blade start to hit the battlefield. We didn't see a single slice land. And Red will get canceled. Everything just coming up. Iliad Artemis right now. I need to adjust sound real quick. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. To shut down the blade's pretty big, and just I like that the Ramatra popped the shield in front of that Sojourn like instantly, and kind of was too nervous. Amado too nervous to try and find any alternative around that Ramatra shield, which you still have to respect. So a lot of ults canceled. Putter's blade pretty much nullified. Amado's Sojourn ult pretty much nullified. Now the progress being more in favor of Artemis here, but now you gotta try and kill Maverick if you can. He is disengaging.
Up through, chase up the jump pad. Maverick's able to stay in form, keep the block up, and get back to the safety of their healers. Now looking to rotate up to main, when Monarchs is going to throw in a Kitsune rush directly to the other side. Try to once again sandwich Lucana like we saw in the very first fight, but this time Lucana's got the ultimate and is able to sustain through it. Looking to chase down Maverick, who's already run off and grabbed a kill onto your Kiriko along the way. So another messy fight, but Snao will eventually put them down with the Soj, and that carries your only loss.
Yeah, the tricky part about Push is that it's so much about momentum and winning back-to-back fights, not just trading. And now you had to use the Annihilation just to get to this point, and you're still only halfway to that lead. No ults for this upcoming fight, and now there's a Pharah of all things, so you're really testing Snell here, and you're going to pair that with the Kiri, who's going to have to juggle even more. The healing to someone up in the air, to healing, of course, Maverick, who's always in trouble. So we'll see what Pain's cooking here.
Pain will put in a lot of damage to kind of corral, but you know it's up to Maverick, the only one here to hold. Both your Sojas will trade out for a kill. Maverick's able to take a little bit of back control. Lucana's still just lurking right underneath this generator. Like, trying to be stealthy. Maverick doesn't care. Maverick saw you, gave a polite wave, whenever punched down your Genji.
Yeah, this is the fight for the lead too, and this was so important for Nightmare to try and take over. Losing Unread early had me a bit worried, but Pain constantly had to kind of crouch down, go behind the corner, not be able to output as much consistent DPS, which then still didn't matter because the rest of the team were able to go forward, take advantage of the fact that there was limited heals on the defensive blue side, and Maverick is not going to stop anytime soon either, but Pain is going to feel the pain of a hit scam.
This is a 3v5 blade. Putter's already cut through Amado with a orbital ray invested into this as well. And, well, I mean, despite Maverick's early picks, is there going to be enough? They look low. The Annihilation actually gets it done. 3v3 left on the point. Amado has dropped in behind. Whoop. Snell with an OC. It was not Amado. Marnix was dropping it behind. Oh, and Marnix dies before they're able to get their ultimate onto the point. Both supports will fall with them in the pocket.
Still, you got a 21-meter lead now, which you saw just how difficult it is for Nightmare to win back-to-back fights. They still have to just get this back to the neutral point, and they'll have to win a fight to even get progress going again. You got a Pharah barrage, but this isn't the friendliest Pharah map I've ever seen, especially at this point. You'd have to really jump up and surprise somebody, which Pain is trying to do right now.
That goes up over the top. Will layer the barrage and over Lucana and cancel the annihilation. About as best a barrage as you can hope for. You know what? You don't tend to survive it. Combine it with an orbital. That's a powerful combo I would have never considered.
This is such a fun play style of Pharah, of just the hide and seek, jump over a wall and surprise someone with barrage. Because, yeah, free flying in the air, it's a little tricky with how little cover there is besides just going on the other side of a wall.
Bardock's now with the only ultimate in this next fight. Played from the inside. Unusual positioning on this Kitsu. He is layered out into the street to try to hold this precious corner. Lucana runs up, trying to castle up on that spot. Good silence from the back line. Defense are able to spread out. And eventually, they're going to run Iliad Artemis off. Oh, yeah.
Damn, this is still anyone's game, I would think. 40 meters isn't much to get through, but Amado is going to make sure that they remain in the lead. Still a disengage, though, as Lau and friends don't have their tank, so they don't want the smoke.
I had a recording issue, sorry. I had to go do stuff behind the scenes. All right, anyway, they had to restart the recording. All right. Unread with an opening pick here. Once again, it bodes well, in this fight for Nightmare Academy in a vacuum. But they got to get something done in this last 2 minutes.
That's about which tank is being most supported. Now you got an Echo raining down on you, but still not enough. Maverick's just going to pop the annihilation.
We're in an orbital drop right on top of Maverick's head. See if some help from space might be enough to kill him. No! Not even that will wrestle this Ramatra down. Maverick's able to pull back to the corner, get the support position at the top of the street, and Paincar lurking above here with the Pharah. It's going to be an engage with Putter's duplicate to march up this hill, up this street, try to force Maverick back. They had the cooldown to back up to the corner, put up the block. Now Floofy in with the orbital, but you've lost the damage out of the skies. The duplicate comes and goes here. Snell's overclock suffers a similar fate. It's even Lucana trying to rush forward with a speed ring. Kind of caught out in no man's land. It's Maverick who goes right past you and picks up a kill on the Putter.
See, Nightmare just used 3 ults. You got the Orbital, the Duke, the Sojourn ult, and they only got 1 kill. And even that hasn't really net them this huge advantage. If anything, it's pretty even.
Now with Kitsu and Barrage running over the top, Lucana is actually just in a horrible spot. And you're going to get Artemis swinging it back. It was only even temporarily even before Artemis just shoved the seesaw right back down in their favor.
Just good disengages from Artemis. And I'd like to see more of a chase down from Nightmare to really up the aggression. When you use all those ults, you just got to int for it. You can't just be happy with the disengage. You have to chase every kill. This is what Push is all about, building any momentum.
20 seconds to go. An enormous lead here for Artemis to try to force this map 5 with Artemis popping the annihilation. Just staying on to the point, you scatter Nightmare Academy into all 4 directions. Putter actually gets leached of health. Lau, no choice but to come over and try to join Lucana on this far side. Does have an orbital ray to work with, but Artemis are happy to take their time here as overtime begins.
You saw just the impact of that Tracer ban and how Putter is put it on himself to be that playmaker, to jump over Ramatra shields and to put so much initial damage down, but again suffering from the fact of not being able to close out those crucial kills. And again, the lesser impact of the ults is really hurting Nightmare.
OC out of Amado to try to win this map here for Artemis. You're able to get 1. Oh, and that will be enough. You steal the bot away. They forced the C9. Artemis are taking us to a map 5.
Oh, such a good job from them. Bull Skunk map 5, Pog.
Always happens with them.
I was questioning the Pharah pick, but honestly, I'm a believer that you can play any hero on any map. You just have to know how to work around the map geometry, which they did. Jumping over the wall, getting fun, random barrages that would catch people off. And Amado, who was fairly consistent, tried to go for some flank ult plays, got the Ramatra shield in the face, but you just have to carry on and not panic too much and know how to disengage with your tank too when there's this inevitable push and pull on a push map. Funny to say. But that was such a huge lead. Nightmare's issue, just not being able to put up back-to-back fights. It would be good to get back to the neutral point, but to extend further than that, they just didn't have enough tools, enough ults.
They're going to respond with the Blizzard World pick. We're going to ban out the sim headed into this map 5. I mean, this is a huge advantage. Remember, Nightmare Academy can choose between any map in the game that has yet to be played. That's in the map pool, obviously. But any game type is available to choose from.
Yeah, the Symmetra is a perfect ban for Blizzard World. It is so long range for that initial point fight that a lot of teams just try to simplify that with rotating using the sim, going to the top right from the offensive perspective, or teleporting to different parts. Even the high ground that's located next to the point is often a area that you're going to sim TP to. So it is going to make those offensive rotations a lot more difficult when you don't have that sim involved. But hey, that means Tracer would be on the table, which is perfect for Putter to try and get around and be a nuisance, create many focal points of threat, which can be quite disruptive and what really helped Putter's team get through some maps. The break bans is a support that's often found to support Tracers or just to be an anti-dive sort of accompanying support. So
yeah. We're looking at some stats here for map 4. Any standout from stats? I already talked about Maverick with that 23 and 2, 14k damage leading the server.
I want to see Snarl versus Duck here. Damn, Snarl actually put up pretty good numbers.
Snarl did lead on Runasapi with 11.6k damage of anybody outside of Maverick. Got silver damage in the lobby.
Which is impressive for a loss. But I'm looking at the tank deaths, pretty significant. Lucana with 6, Maverick with 2. I think that was the big tipping point of Overwatch. Can be a lot like bowling when you have that central pillar, that central pin that falls, especially on a push map. It is very snowballing and you're just going to run everybody down after that. So as soon as Lucana would fall, everything would fall apart, which meant Snell had to constantly kind of readjust where he was positioned. And Putter had to try and go and finish off a lot of the damage that Snell was putting out, and only at 6 limbs was having issues doing that, but should be back on the Tracer, I would think, but okay, there we go. I was worried
just
about
getting everybody else spawned. We are going to
now you
back
marked
What's that?
The Tracer on the you mark the Tracer on the right side. That's good for Putter to know whether to choose to engage into that, to follow with the dive, or to try and go left side and to even get some presence on the point, which can pull the defense back if you're having issues going forward.
Yeah, that did work really well. You can see it successfully opens up the first leg of this attack into point A. Here comes Pain. He's going to go ahead and duel. It's a dangerous endeavor to go alone. So Maverick comes in to join. Be able to get Bubble out, kind of slowly crowbar Nightmare Academy and force them around to the other side. Now they're playing on the far side of stable, where they're able to get Snell into these long sidelines. Snell sneaks into Snaxarama while this is happening.
I don't love the diva choice here. I'm a diva main too, so it's just she's not as good at holding space, but very good at entering into fights. So to just push people off the high ground, to peel, Diva's one of the best for that. But all this offense needs to do is sit on the point. The Diva's eventually going to leave you to have it.
Amado with a big risk play, trying to move up to Griffin, is immediately recognized and struck down there by Lucana. And Maverick, yeah, minimal impact there. Lucky to get out in one pace.
Fairly quick take. It's going to be maybe an importance of tank choices, but Diva is pretty fluid at getting from high to low ground and to do kind of everything at once, while as Winston's going to be a bit more committed to his positions and what he's trying to accomplish, but the defense is now missing a Tracer, so I need Putter to go and land a sticky bomb, get to this high ground, make them uncomfortable, and this is how you start building a lot of momentum.
Yeah, they decided they'll just catch Maverick. It was a jump from Lucana that caught Maverick. And then you just slowly pushed him back. Putter just patiently waiting on that side. Cart just now getting around the first quarter.
Yeah, losing one, and then your Diva. You're just already half the point is capped, and barely anything has happened.
And yeah, it's this Diva comp definitely is like, you don't have the Diva there, you can't forget. All right, Kitsune Rush re-engagement from the defense. Bob out from Snow. Where did that go in? No. I don't know, but Lucana did not get enough protection. Now we're going to get a Tidal Blast, throw it in. Maverick runs in towards the Mega Room and just forces everybody back. You've devalued the Kitsune and the Bob successfully here if you're the Artemis defense.
Yeah, especially if you throw out that Bob when the D.Va's low on Matrix, that could really just displace an entire team. But D.Va's good at just mitigating a lot of damage and a lot of ultimates like the Bob, but here's a barrier push.
Oh, wow. Wow's going to get two on the back of that. Oh, we'll get in another red X on the screen. Beautiful two-piece. So that's the danger of Lao. Lao is just one of these kind of high accuracy, explosive flex supports that'll just turn up and find your first 2 kills for you, just like that.
This has been a pretty seamless push. Like 4.5 minutes for C is pretty insane. And you have Primal and you have Pulse, which can be a feast or famine type of ultimate of what you can accomplish with the Pulse Bomb. And Maverick's always going to have a second life with the D.Va Bomb. All right, go time Amado, but everyone's just going to leave. Kind of too early for a pop for me, but...
No, they're pushing them all the way back to the spawn. Yeah, Lucana pops the Primal Rage. He's going to get bold. Like, let's have a party out here in the courtyard. Lucana says you're all invited to come play. We'll fly Pain. Flumphy with the jump damage. And a beautiful, beautiful move. And then kind of wins that one out. It's a flawless fight. This is Nightmare Academy around the final corner. This is a ton of time.
This is definitely a much better dive team. You saw how much of a difference it makes for Lucana to be on the Winston, for Putter to be the Tracer alongside him, to make that quick decision to pop to Primal and actually turn the fight in their favor. I think inting for the Sojourn ult, an unfortunate decision. They tried to make the most out of it, and now they find themselves behind.
This kid, oh no. Losing Lucana like that's not good, especially with your Kitsune Rage, your Kitsune Rush engage. Kind of got stuck, and that one kind of fell flat.
That's fantastic, yeah, for the defense to just kind of get any wind in their sails, because most of this map has not gone their way, from point B getting staggered, never having a real push, to even just the initial point went by pretty seamlessly, just with the tank choices being much better for the Winston, but still 3 minutes and lots of ult cycles to go.
Fight for the inside corner for the moment. Yeah, definitely lots of time to work with. It's going to be the Kitsune from the defense. Bob throw it in. The fight moves inside as a result of that exchange. Lucana has got Marnix in their side. Marnix gets the swim step out solo. That was ridiculous. Able to try to stay alive a little bit longer. Unred's going to find the kill, though. Drops the sound barrier for 3. Just not going to get much out of it. Okay, you at least get the return beat from Flumphy. I'm not seeing any more value than that. Defense stabilizes.
That's huge for the defense. First, Maverick had killed Lao so early in the fight, forcing the beat to be dropped from the other side, but the fight was already pretty over. Like, Flumphy popped B and the attack had already left, or Unred did. So now 2 minutes left, and Lucana has Primal, and you just saw how devastating he was last time that happened, and there's not going to be a real answer. Amado, though, needs to impress me with his Sojourn ult and find the correct timing.
Oh, it's going to be a go first out of the defense. 2 red X's, 3 red X's in a row out of Amado to confirm the kill on the Snell. And, you know, I don't know. Are you impressed? Are you not entertained?
I am, and this is a much better spot to pop it at once you're actually inside of this castle, not when the team is just leaving spawn. But hey, they try to adapt and they try to overcome, and that was fantastic out of Amado, and Pain is also staggering things. So this is very defendable.
Suddenly down, you know, when started at 3.5, we're down to $1.15. Pulse Bomb in the pocket. Everybody wants Pain. Pain is going to get that recall forced very early. It's a quick blink to the back line to force the C9, while the Primal Rage out from Lucana is just going to keep everybody far away from this cart. Self-destruct has been used. Lucana didn't quite get what they were looking for with that juggle.
Maverick needs to turn on this Winston, but just going to regroup with the team, and Lucana could have been in a position to be punished, but now it's about everyone getting reorganized, and the offense still has to get topped up. Kitsune Rush, and Mardox doesn't have his yet.
No, the pulse. Oh, almost took it out entirely, but they're able to avoid it. Respond with their own Kitsu.
Just in time too, but he's still trading out hit scans, so defense just needs to kind of calm down, anchor themselves on the cart, not overextend, unless I guess they're gonna want to invest the barrier. They want a clean fight win, and they're not getting the kills quite yet. If anything, it's just happening now, and that just may be enough to stop the full cap.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really, honestly, I think it was just a great ult track out of Floomfi. You wouldn't expect to see the defense go first there, but the read that they had, the beaten unread, did not have that sound barrier online yet, and it was a bold call out of Artemis. But yeah, they go first. They drop the sound barrier and they attack unread. They deny that final sound barrier into the fight at all and can complete a 3+ minute hold here on point C in this map 5.
And Floomfi has shown us pretty consistently that he knows how to make those decisions in the heat of the moment, and more often than not is the correct one. From when he was playing Brig in previous maps to the Lucio now, and that's kind of a tricky situation. If the offense was fully disengaged, then you waste B, and then they re-engage with theirs and they full cap, but they actually made the most out of that beat. Yeah,
such a high-risk move. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. The timing and the execution both spot on. If either go awry, that's the full cap right there.
Still, this is a very far push. A lot of teams even struggle to cap point B. And because it's such a large part, the defense have so much room, so many angles they can take, and the offense, sometimes they get stuck wanting to push the car, then you're in the middle of nowhere with no cover, and you can get picked quite easily from the defense. But there was so much momentum generated from someone like Putter, who went on the flank, to staggering out Maverick when they were in a 4v5, to just, again, great momentum built by the red side, and now to attack with a D.Va is a painful process. Again, you don't have that Winston bubble to kind of keep yourself anchored in. You can't go as far as a Winston can, but you can kind of play these close front-to-back duels and still take high grounds like anyone else, but it's going to be a much more take it inch by inch type of rotation.
You can't take what they'll give you, and you can't really force it. You can see Maverick executing that tango very nicely with Lucana here so far. And I like how they're trying to go into this back position, trying to get Lucana to go on it. No, Lucana doesn't take the bait. Lucana tries to actually dive to backline. Maybe that was the true bait all along. Maverick with a nice little triple. Yeah, the bait was the frenzy bait along the way. I don't really know, but it's Maverick with a 4-piece.
And we needed to see more of this aggressive D.Va, someone that can actually chase down these supports or people without cooldowns. Especially, I've seen moments of brilliance out of Maverick, spotting when Loud doesn't have that Kiri teleport and being able to collapse on those supports. But based on the composition, when you have an Ashe or a Lucio, there's a lot of things to negate that D.Va dive. So for Maverick to get away with that triple kill was a huge part of capping. That was the reason they were able to cap. But now what do you do from here? The Ashe is going to be playing just like back on Dorado all the way in Narnia, and that's a difficult gap to close for a D.Va, so it's going to be maybe more reliant on the Tracer.
It's not playing low ground. I mean, within arm's reach of both their supports, Pain is moving through Mega's side. Going to try to close that gap, looking to get in on top of Snao, but they ate a shot and were forced to use their recall early. They're able to sneak in with Amado providing some cover from a distance, and Pain finds the kill. A beautiful execution, leapfrogging their way into that far right room and securing a pair to keep this car going.
Pain's too scared to grab the mini, doesn't have recall, and now the rest of the team are falling. They're going to have a recontest with the Kitsune rush, but having this high ground spot means this could be a position for Amado to get picks before the fight even begins. You could have a choice to put kind of more people on the card to try and force a decision earlier, but you know this Kitsune rush is coming out, so got to be careful.
Beat. Flared in from Fuvi on top of the double rush. Pulse bomb onto Lucana. No way you get out of that one alive. Unbelievable. Cart getting closed. The pulse bomb from Putter lands onto the pilot Maverick and catches Floomfi as well. Oh no! Putter with a big 3K.
That was insane from Putter. Again,
That's
the performances he could do. Yeah, the performance he can do on Tracer. If you could ban Tracer every map, you would. But then you have to select that map very carefully in this rule set. So now there's so much room to make up for. You have to, again, scrap through this high ground long distance duel, which is not good for a diva. But hey, we'll see what Amado can do.
And Emmett actually goes down low. It's a disengage out of the sound barrier. Primal Rage combo from the defense. Lyle's able to make good. Pick up one through that. Primal's still searching for some value. Oh, and you catch pain on the way out. Oh, no.
I love Winston right clicks. But yeah, that pain is being felt of having a long distance duel. Amado not able to swing the fight in their favor, and it's just everyone running for the hills. But it's kind of give or take whether Amado can carry a fight with the old Sojourn. Just doesn't hit the same like she did back in Sojourn jail days.
Amado's still ruthless with this hero. Oh, good bubble protected from that rail shot. Suzu has been forced. His defense drops back. Kind of out in the open, interesting spot. Amado's able to slide forward. And you can see Academy kind of getting pressed down. They got to respond. They go up and take away the space of the high ground with the Kitsune and Rush. Lucana goes leaping in to try to find the supports. Oh, the peel! Maverick falls back and just gets died, trying to go protect, trying to provide a barrier, and Putter and Lau are able to move in and clean up. Nightmare Academy will get this second point.
Oh, back-to-back fights that are being lost. That's really tricky. There's so many paths for Pain to take, from the middle mini to going around the right side, but trying to access Snell, who's playing as far back as they possibly can, is so difficult. I like this pathing a bit better. You try to avoid as much poke as possible, but oh my god, that shot is gross.
God, it was like half a pixel. That was ridiculous now.
That is why I prefer Ashe over Sojourn, because you just get that immediate damage, that immediate output. You don't have to charge up your energy the way Sojourn does, and you don't need that extra mobility from the Sojourn, but sometimes it is about comfort, and Lucana's out of there.
Oh, Putter tried a little drive by, pulsing. Does not work. Maverick's able to fly in below, grab an opening pick, but it has already been traded. Sound barrier vestige up into the sky. See if you can lock down this Ashe. Oh, chase it all over Blizzard World. You eventually will find the kill. Claim Snell. 65 seconds to go. Artemis are so close to getting this over the line. Putter gets the Suzu. They're the only DPS left. It looks like they're running out of anchor points here. Artemis eventually get the kills. I was starting to worry. Defense might be able to stabilize, but eventually they are overwhelmed.
Not as much time to get into point C, but the job was done, and I was starting to worry about just how that gap closing was going when they were losing, when Artemis were losing back-to-back fights. But Maverick just fully committed and even inted into the Ashe as that biggest threat at range, and just trusted that Pain was going to keep Putter in their place, and all the pieces were going to come together. And now you need to do that because the box of victory for map 5 is just at the end of the map. And Maverick now has to choose whether they pay attention to the Winston or not. You got to burn this guy down.
Yeah, Lucana, for the defense, wants to win this fight with only the one ultimate, but Unredden's going to go ahead and invest in the second. Amado with the overclock in play, but you're already sans tank. Now you're down your Tracer as well. 90 seconds to go.
Ooh, okay. Lucana's kind of nice with these right clicks, I'm not going to lie.
It's one of my favorite additions to Winston in Overwatch 2. I love the right click so much.
I think Lucana could be chaseable here, but it's not that urgency from the offense quite yet. This is a difficult part of the map for Tracers to have good pathing. It's just that left side, and that's pretty much it, and the pulse gets Suzu'd.
The sound barrier out of Iliad Artemis to push into the Kitsune Rush. Kind of stopped on the front by the bubble for now. A little battle for mini room between Unred and Putter. Oh, there's a lot of people piling in there. See if they can give themselves a player advantage. You're going to force out the recall. Looks like Pain got out, but Amado does not. Artemis backing away with 40 seconds remaining. Flumphy survives on Tim Health. Maverick desperately keeping their team alive.
And this is going to be the final hurrah, and Maverick needs to keep the mech, and even if Flumphy healed here, he's not close to beat, so coming down to a Kitsune Rush fight, and okay, that's going to hurt a lot, but you still got to go for it.
19 seconds. Do you wait for the Tracer to get in? I think you do. Oh, look at Lau. Lau's getting aggressive. Lau's going on the hunt. Try to catch him off guard. Oh, we get a pause.
Oh my god.
Come on
This is
now.
not real.
Feels like it was a pause from a DC or a ping spike or something like that. I don't think either team manually caused this. It was just unfortunate timing for Lau. All right.
Someone has to touch, and okay, easy to do. And Payne is going towards the right side, probably to just chase down Putter, who has no recall. So, Payne just loses to a shot from Ash. That's tough.
4v5. We're going to be in overtime for the rest of this series. Now with an opening pick for the defense. There is a Bob in play. Unread close to that beat will be the next tool for that defense. Self-destruct from Maverick. You've got to get back in mech and the series is over. Fortunately, you do, but Lucana's got a primal. You're running out of reinforcements left and right. Payne has returned. It's just too many targets to overcome. Maverick doing their best to try to ankle the cart, but Nightmare Academy are hitting him from all sides. Let's say that. Lucana takes a lot of damage. Payne is actually doing significant work before going down, but Maverick loses the mech, and it seems like Artemis are feeling as desperate as ever. Unread and Lau are just waiting for the return. There's the engage. The attack on the Maverick will seal the deal. The sound barrier related to the fight. It only hits 3. Amado has returned. It is close to an overclock. It would be one hero overclock. You got to get through it. Oh, no, you're not going to get through anything. Nightmare Academy win the map 5. Stay undefeated and move to 5-0 here in Season 7.
Wow, he just went to power levels of 9,000 with power and or Putter and Snell. I should say you combine them. It's probably power.
It's power.
With
I
Snell,
like it. I'm on the board.
So many picks with the Ashe on point B, especially to be able to shift your focus towards the Tracers, because usually you're trying to burn a tank, maybe trying to poke at the supports, but to kind of shift towards a Tracer, which is already so hard to hit, getting those picks have been huge for Snell. Putter, I think, was pretty consistent on the Tracer gap there, but he's been known as that Tracer guy for so long. He has the experience. Nightmare just looked like a better dive team than anything else. I would say the Artemis were better at brawls, and he saw that how evident that was on Runasapi, and maybe it just came down to those bans. Can Putter be as flexible without the Tracer? He looked good on the Echo on Ilios, but kind of struggled on push. But Snell was able to kind of contribute at different parts, whether on the Sojourn, the Ashe, whatever it was. Just once Putter and Snell clicked together, they seem like an unbeatable DPS duo.
Snell comes away with 17.9k damage in that map 5.
Wow.
Leading the server more than either of your tanks. Enormous. 22-8. Blizzard World. 20-4 for Putter to kind of round out that DPS duo who has by far the fewest deaths in the lobby. So, I mean, just couple those two things together. You're looking at 12 deaths total out of Nightmare Academy's DPS line versus 21 deaths out of Payne and Mobutu.
13 deaths on a Sojourn? I'm very surprised by that, because, yes, there's a Winston that's on you all the time, but the Sojourn would be the best pick against a Winston, because you can just go so far away from him. So it must have been Lucana just having really good awareness when that Sojourn jump was being used, and to know to keep following up with it, or to send your Tracer to go kill that Sojourn. I'm very surprised. I thought it was going to be the Tracer that had 13 deaths, because that makes a lot more sense, because the packs are very spread out on Blizzard World.
And it felt like Putter and Unread were doing such a good job of controlling those flanks. You're like, oh yeah, that would make sense that, you know, your Tracer was kind of getting beat up a little bit, because Putter and Unread did look really good. But yeah, no, they were punishing Mobutu. Had most deaths in the lobby by a significant margin.
Very surprising, but hey, I'm glad you got me in for this match, because you were not kidding. That was an incredible game 5.
Thank you so much for joining me. This was so awesome. Not to mention finally getting to cast with you was absolutely amazing. You kidding?
Oh my god, yeah. We've been around the same space for so long, and it finally happened.
All right, I think we're
then. GG's.
Yeah, GG's all around. I think we're gonna give player of the match to Dirt Overwatch. I'm kidding. You did it, Dirt. You did it. All right, you did it. You were cheering the team on from chat. It's the captain of Nightmare Academy, so you know.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I mean, he's the hog one trick I was telling you about. So I didn't expect like this team to go this way. They usually play very off meta, and that's what's even more funny about Nightmare Academy playing this like super fundamental, like really solid dive. They look so good. 5-0. Player of the match I think has to be Snell in this, right? Or Putter even. Which would you think? I mean, both of them were so good.
I think Putter for me, I guess, but you could give it to either one. And I just really respect good Tracer players who can play other things. And if you can Tracer div somebody, it can really take over a match. So I would say Putter is the guy you'd want to ban against, and that would be my MVP. But disagree on that if you want.
No, you're our guest. I love it. I think you said you can make arguments for either way, and there you go. Putter is your MVP here tonight. All right, that's going to do it for us, Fitz. Thank you so much for hanging out.